Most people leave their hearts in a relationship, but Lillian left something she could never get back: a kidney, removed from her own body so the man she loved could save his dying company. Not for charity, not for survival, but for his dream. His business was collapsing, debts were piling up, investors were walking away, and she was the only one who still believed in him. So she went through the surgery. She signed the papers alone. She woke up from surgery alone. She healed in silence while he counted the money and planned his next move. And she remembered every single one. The trouble started with one contract. A major distributor pulled out without warning. No explanation, just a letter, a signature, and an empty space where 30% of Emeka's revenue used to be. Within 2 months, a second partner followed. By the third month, the bank was calling. Emeka did not tell Lillian immediately. He carried it the way proud men carry shame, quietly, until the weight broke something. When he finally told her, it came out all at once. The debts, the frozen accounts, the staff he could no longer pay, the investor who had offered to help but only if Emeka could prove the company was still viable. Lillian listened without interrupting. She asked 3 questions. She went home and did not sleep. Over the next 2 weeks, Emeka became a different man. The charm was still there, but underneath it, she could feel the fear. He needed money, real money, quickly. He had explored every option. Loans rejected. Family exhausted. Investors demanding equity he could not give. And then one evening, he sat across from Lillian with something in his eyes she had never seen before. It was not desperation exactly. It was something quieter than that. It was a man who had already made up his mind about what he was going to ask and was hoping she would say yes before he finished the sentence. He had read about it online. A kidney donation, living donor. The compensation, when arranged through the right channels, was significant. Significant enough to clear the debts. Significant enough to keep the company alive. He did not say, "I want you to do this." He said, "I don't know what else to do." Lillian did not answer him that night. She went home. She opened her laptop, and she spent the next 4 days reading everything she could find. The risks were real. 1 kidney meant 1 chance. Any future complications and there would be no backup. The recovery would take months. The pain would be significant. She read all of it. She did not look away. She also read about what happened to the companies that survived moments like this one. How the founders rebuilt. How the people beside them during the collapse became the architecture of what came after. She thought about Emeka. She thought about 3 years. She thought about what it meant to believe in someone, not just when it was easy, but when it cost something. Her instincts said, wait. Her love said, go. On the 5th day, she called him. She said, I will do it. I need you to promise me one thing. When this is over, we build something that lasts. He promised. The surgery was arranged quietly. No announcement, no ceremony. Just Lillian, a hospital bag, and a morning that felt like any other morning. Emeka did not come with her. He had a meeting. That was what he said. An important one. A potential investor who could only meet that day. He would come that evening, he said. He would be there when she woke up. The procedure took 4 hours, and when Lillian opened her eyes, the room was white and quiet. There was a nurse adjusting something beside the bed. There was the low sound of a monitor. She didn't move. There was no Emeka. He came the next morning. He brought flowers. He held her hand. He said he was sorry about the meeting, that it had run longer than expected. He said the investor was interested. He said, "Thank you." She looked at him and said nothing. Recovery took 11 weeks. During those 11 weeks, Lillian managed his company from her hospital bed. She answered supplier emails. She reviewed contracts. She made calls when his voice was needed, but she used her own. She had given him a kidney. And somehow, it still wasn't enough. And she was still, even from a hospital bed, holding his company together. There is a scar on Lillian's side that will never leave her. She knows it is there even when she cannot see it. He never asked about it again. 6 months after the surgery, Emeka's company crossed its first million in revenue. He called Lilian to tell her first. She was in the kitchen when her phone rang. She heard his voice, bright, full of the old energy she had fallen in love with, and she allowed herself, finally, to exhale. She thought, now we build. They celebrated that weekend, a quiet dinner, just the two of them. He toasted to her. He said she was the reason any of it existed. She believed him. It started small. A phone turned face down when she arrived at his office. A conversation that ended before she came through the door. A business trip that was not on the calendar. Emeka called it networking. He said the company was growing, that he needed to be in rooms she had never been in. He said it gently, the way you say something to someone you are already planning to leave. A name began to appear. Mabel. Mabel Johnson, CEO of a rival logistics firm, a woman who had once tried to move in on Emeka's client base, back when the company was still small enough to be worth targeting. Emeka mentioned Mabel the way you mention someone you think is safe to mention, casually, briefly, just a name in a sentence, just a business contact. Lillian said nothing, but she noticed everything. The new cologne he was wearing when she came by on a Tuesday evening. The careful grooming on nights he said he was heading to a work dinner. The way his laughter sounded different when his phone lit up across the table from her. She did not confront him. Not yet. Because Lillian had learned something in 11 weeks of recovering from surgery in silence. You find out more when you say nothing. 3 weeks later, an envelope arrived at Lillian's apartment. No return address, just her name, written in a hand she did not recognize. She stood in the hallway and opened it slowly. It was printed on a thick cardstock, gold lettering, the kind of invitation that cost more than most people's monthly rent. She read the first line, Mr. Emeka Okafor and Mrs. Mabel Johnson. Request the honor of your presence at their wedding ceremony. Lillian stood in that hallway for a long time. She did not drop the envelope. She did not make a sound. She just stood there, holding the card, reading the name of the woman who had once tried to destroy everything she helped build. Now printed beside the name of the man she had given a piece of her body to save. It wasn't just a wedding invitation. She understood that. It was his. She stood in that hallway for a long time, and in that silence, something that had been soft inside her became hard. Not from hatred, not from anger, from clarity. Because Lillian was not the kind of woman who screamed. She was the kind of woman who planned. And now, she finally understood everything. What she does next changes everything. If you want to see what happens when someone like Lillian stops feeling and starts thinking, subscribe to Life Stories with the Innocent. And before you go, drop one word in the comments, just one word that describes Emeka.